Hi, it's Rokket Racing, Engine Lab in Tampa, Florida. There's our contact information, Rokket911engines.com if you need to get a hold of us. Today I'm going to do part 2. Yesterday I showed you all in the previous video how to set up the camshafts, specifically 1 through 3, 4 through 6 essentially identical. So what we have here is we have the camshaft in, I have the tensioners still loose. If you look in here, my timing marks are still in good order. All right, I'm going to the cam timing. I got the shaft a little bit loose because I can actually need to rotate this gear a little bit. All right, so that being said, I'm going to come back here. I'm going to install this tool. This is the tool that you use to set the cam timing. Now, if you look at the rear of the exhaust cam, there's a slot in it, and that slot, this tool is supposed to go in there. It'll move like this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get that installed. And the camshaft is loose. This gear is not tightened down. Just enough tension. All right, and we need to get this in there. All right, so that's in there now. This tool is now locked into that gear. Okay. I got this snug down. Now what I need to do is I need to release the tension on the tensioner itself. Like I said, and this exhaust gear is loose. This exhaust gear can be turned. I'm going to remove bolt, the M5 bolt that we talked about in the previous video that holds these down, and that will allow proper tensioning. Got a bit of a bugger coming out of there. More threads. And on the early cars, 99 and earlier, these are right-hand thread. Sometime in 1999, that tensioner bolt, or this bolt to hold these down, was changed to a left-handed thread. All right, so now I've got the tension off of that. I've got the cam gear set up just finger tight so that it can actually move. All right, I've got this in here. Now this is how you set the cam timing. It's gonna seem very rudimentary, but that's how it works. If you look back here, there's a little bit of a gap. You get that where you want it, and very simple. You're gonna go just like that. Now the camshaft timing is correct. Very simple. Now I need to come over here to the front and make sure that my cam gear is in good order, which it is. I have it moved all the way forward. Now with that, I'm going to fasten the cam gear properly. The only thing that's holding that in right now is this tension. Yeah, and I have this part of the way in there so that we can actually, the tensioner, to get the, keep tension on that bolt. This is an early car, so it has the external oil pump drive. I'm not a big fan of these, but it is what it is. I prefer the later gears that it's all integral. All right, so I'm just gonna get that kind of just finger tight right there for the moment. All right, I've already pre-charged that tensioner with oil. I'm gonna go ahead and snug this up a little bit. So loose, everything's timing's, I'm gonna double check it again. Timing's still on. Now, I wanna point out camshaft orientation. This is pretty much true for any vehicle, Porsche in particular. This is cylinder number 1 on the 996. On cylinder number 1, the exhaust valves are pointing roughly 45 degrees down towards the oil pan, or towards the exhaust manifold. On the intake, or Einlass, as we talked about in the previous video, they're approximately 45 degrees going towards the intake manifold or the intake port. And like we talked about yesterday, I have these in the proper orientation. This is an intake cam, cap, E, einless, intake, A, Auspuff, exhaust. So everything's good there. I also want to point out one other thing is very important. This cam reluctor pickup or Hall effect sensor on the 1 through 3, this is going to be straight up and down. On 4 through 6, that's going to be on the bottom. And let me show you an exhaust cam here. I will show you what I'm talking about. Here is the dot in the line on 4 through 6. All right, I want to point out the orientation of this dot is roughly on top. This is on the top. On this one, it's going to be on the bottom. So when I get that cam set up in there, this is going to be on the bottom. It's gonna. So when these are properly timed and properly installed in the engine, this will be out. It'll be out on both sides. And when this is turned in on the inside, this is going to do a 360 degrees, that'll be on the inside. So they're either both pointing to the inside or they're both pointing to the outside. When you rotate the engine and that does not happen, you have your cam timing off. All right, the next step on this, now that I've got the double checker timing here, no need, all right, I'm gonna take this off. Now I'm going to lock down the cams with another tool. That holds the camshafts into position so that I can take off those cam tensioning bolts. These go right inside the camshaft, just like this. Get a bolt, M8 by 125, run this down. All right. That's going to hold your camshafts in position to put your valve caps on. So then we can remove these camshaft bridges here to hold it down for the cam timing. And these are M8. I want to show you one other trick when you go to put your camshaft cover on. And that is the trick. When you put the valve cover on, right here, these little oil galleys right here, if you get excessive silicone or the Durabond in there, it will plug those holes, this valley. And when you plug this valley, what happens is you start popping off the caps that go on the cam caps, the black caps, sometimes they're green, other colors. So what you do is you find an O-ring. I have one here that will work just fine. And you set it in this area right here. You're going to push it down, make sure you got still enough to grab it from. All right, and you come over here and you do the same thing. And what this does is when you seal the camshaft cover, you put the cam cover on, it prevents that silicone from going in this valley. Very important. If you don't do that, you'll be blowing valve caps off constantly. It's a known thing. So Although I've shown you how to do cylinder bank 1 through 3, 4 through 6 is identical, but I'll do another video on 4 through 6 just for demonstration purposes. But in the interim, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and any other Porsche questions, reach out. We can help you.